Shöta Imanaga on the mound for the Cubs tonight. They'll try to break back in the win column with the Japanese left-hander. We're going to talk about that, what happened to the Cubs last night in Seattle on this West Coast swing, and more right here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Make sure that you guys like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. That's a great way of saying go Cubs, and get in that comment section. Love to hear what all of you guys are thinking and talk some baseball. Let's get this thing going. Always tough out on the West Coast. Hi, everybody. I'm Mick Gillispie. Welcome to the Cubs Baseball channel at Broadcaster Mick. It is great to have you here today to talk some Cubs baseball. All right, let's get into it right off the bat, and that is that tonight, Shöta Imanaga, who has been brilliant, will pitch against Emerson Hancock, and he'll try to pitch the Cubs back into what I call victory lane, into the win column, however you want to look at it. He's the right guy as the Cubs continue to try to find some solid pitching with a rash of injuries. 8:40 game out in Seattle. And again, Shöta has been so good and has not allowed a run yet. And this will be a stadium that I think really benefits his style. The ball doesn't carry there very much, and runs are hard to come by. Seattle hasn't scored a bunch of runs. So the Cubs have what right now would be their ace on the mound tonight against the Mariners. Now, another starting pitcher getting closer to returning, and he can't get there fast enough, is Jameson Taillon, who pitched for Iowa in his second rehab assignment yesterday. 3 2/3 innings, 3 hits. He was much better than his debut for the Smokies. He gave up no runs, 1 walk, 4 strikeouts, 68 pitches, 46 for strikes. So he's up. He's getting closer. Craig Counsell wants him at 100 pitches. I think one more outing of success, no pain. Remember, he had the back issue, and he'll be back. No, not back pain, but back in a Cubs uniform. And they could use him right now as they're without some of their best pitchers, including Justin Steele, and then the way that Kyle Hendricks has struggled, and obviously Julian Merriweather in the bullpen having a tough time. So, with an injury, he's not going to be there. So they've got to find pitching, and he certainly is a guy that could do that. And if you missed it yesterday, Jose Cuas was optioned to Iowa. We knew this was coming. He'd allowed runs in multiple games. He just wasn't very effective. He had a 12 ERA. He's got options, and it was between, I think, Hayden Wesneski and Keegan Thompson. And it was Keegan Thompson that they called up, and he pitched really well for the Cubs last night. Loved the mustache. So, improved on that, got in the game, gave us a couple good innings. And he had been pitching 2 innings every outing in Iowa. And so it just slid right in there for him, and gives the Cubs a look out of the bullpen, a right-hander, and he got the job done. So hopefully he'll continue that. Talking about rehabs, one of the Cubs' former top prospects, who's now been passed by this farm system that is stacked, is Brennan Davis. But the Cubs have kept Brennan Davis. They haven't given up on Brennan Davis, who actually looked pretty good this spring training and then was hit in the head by a pitch. I'm guessing there's a concussion issue there because he hasn't played, but started his rehab in South Bend. And I'm sure he's going to get back to AAA, where right now there's not a spot for him because of the other outfielders there, including Pete Crow Armstrong, Owen Casey, and Alexander Canario. I mean, this is what happens in an organization. Sometimes you go from being the top prospect to not even on the list. That doesn't mean that Brennan Davis isn't going to make it. That doesn't mean that he can't help the team. But what it means is he's got a lot of work to do. And this spring training, I thought that he really brought an intensity to the games that he was in. So we'll see what happens there. Definitely worth talking about and good to see him kind of back and moving in the right direction again. Talking about a good direction, Ian Happ at first base has found a way to get on. I said first base, leading off, has found a way to get on base a lot. 13 straight games that he's played, he's either gotten a hit or a walk, and he's been on base. He's been a good table setter, made a really nice diving catch in last night's loss. The bats were silent last night. It was the type of game that you figure the Mariners need it. Low scoring. They don't get a lot of runs, and they got good pitching, and just looked like the Cubs were still adjusting to playing out on the West Coast, or maybe it was Brandon Miller did a nice job starting and just shut them down. Jordan Wicks, a couple pitches away from really giving up no runs, but bases loaded, hits a guy when it looked like he was just about to get out of a jam. Was a pitch away from getting out of the other inning where he gave up 3 runs. And when it was all said and done, the Cubs ended up losing the game 4-2. Michael Busch, though, still pounding the baseball. This guy might be a real find for the Cubs. Just the way that he turns on the ball. He lined out, he doubled, he had a home run. He gives you a really good at bat. There wasn't a spot for him on the Dodgers, and the Cubs may have found a real star at first base, because he's looked pretty good over there. Did make an error in the field. He's still transitioning from third and second to first base, and so that process continues. Talking about continuing the process of transitioning, on the other side of the diamond, another error for Christopher Morel. But I will say this: I'm seeing an adjustment being made. He made an error. He's going to make more errors. But honestly, I feel like we're starting to see him get better. The throws are getting better across the diamond. He looks a lot more comfortable. It's still a long process, and defensively, he's still one of the worst third basemen in baseball today. But you're starting to see things change a little bit. Give him credit. The hard work is starting to pay off. So we'll see if, he's able to get through games without making errors. Craig Counsell's done a nice job of switching him with Nick Madrigal, who's a better defender late in games. But you need Morel's bat in the lineup. I think that's the bottom line. So another error for Morel. But even with that, I thought he played a better game over at third base as he tries to continue to get better at that position. And that's kind of where we are right now. So Shöta Imanaga will try to pitch the Cubs back to a win. They certainly could use that. This has been a tough road trip so far for the Cubs with that loss to the Mariners yesterday. The Cubs are now 1-4, 1-3 on this trip. Yeah, 1-3. So they had the game that they blew the 8-run lead. I think that's still kind of hanging over them at this point. But hey, win tonight with Imanaga, and you still have a chance to win the series. But got to take care of business tonight. Get in the comments section, like and subscribe. Thanks for hanging out, guys. And we will talk to you again tomorrow unless something breaks, and we'll jump on and talk about that as well. Thanks for hanging out with us here on the Cubs Baseball channel. Go Cubs.